Hey guys, it's Kim here with Fairily Fiber Fun. Thanks for joining me on another spinning video. Today we are spinning up some Shetland combed top from Sadie's Spin Craft that I got from her several years ago when she had a store. And I blended it with soft silk from Kamaj Fiber Arts and dyed bamboo, probably from Paradise Fibers, but I do not remember where because I've ordered dyed bamboo from a few places. Anyway, I blended this on the carder about 3 times, maybe 4, and then dizzed it off as roving, and that is what I am spinning now. So you can watch that video. You'll see a little card up on the right-hand corner of your screen, and so if you haven't seen that and you want to, you can hop over and watch that. Before I get into it, I would like to give a very warm welcome to new viewers and a welcome back to returning viewers. If you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss new videos as they come out. And as always, leave your comments, questions, and suggestions in the comment section below. Have you ever spun hand-pulled roving? By hand-pulled roving, I mean roving that somebody made on their carder, on their hand cards, on their blending board that you've made on those 3 machines, one of those, or, and I'm not talking about roving made from a small mill. This is roving that somebody made off of their drum carder or blending board. Comb top is where you diz off combs or a hackle, and that is not roving. It is comb top. So not to confuse anybody, but we're talking about hand-pulled roving right now, like what this is. So, being Shetland wool, I have only experienced Shetland one other time, and that was from Jen Johnson of Soft Shetland Wool, and her Shetland sheep produce the finest, softest, most crimpy fleeces. And I have spun mill processed roving and mill processed top from her sheep. And it is the softest, most amazing cloud type floof you will ever touch. This, what I'm spinning right now, is from World of Wool, and it is not the super soft wool that I was expecting, thanks to Jen Johnson. You can see links to Jen Johnson's YouTube channel. She's Whispering Pines, Soft Shetland Wool, and also Sadie's Spin Craft, where I purchased this beautifully dyed braid of fiber from. Both those YouTube channels you can find in the show notes. Anyways, I'm not upset about this Shetland at all. I like it. I was just expecting something a lot softer. But this is very, very pleasant to spin, and it wants to spin ultra fine, which is typical of Shetland wool. So I ended up with a 3-ply fingering weight. Although it's kind of it ranges from a light fingering to a heavy fingering because I do not spin ultra consistently. Like, I just don't care to spin consistent yarns. When you knit the fabric, it's going to look great, especially once blocked. So I don't know yet if this yarn is going to be socks or an accent in something else. I do not know, but being a 3-ply, it is very round, and I would love to make cables to make something with cables out of it, because a round yarn just makes the cables stand out of the fabric. So we shall see what I end up doing with it in the future. Right now, it has been stashed, and it's going to wait until I figure out what to do with it. So, but being a nice, dusty, smoky purple, this fiber deserves, or this yarn deserves, a special project. So I don't know, maybe a hat? I don't know. It's spun kind of harsh for a hat. It's spun for socks, honestly. I should just knit socks out of it. But yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. What would you recommend I do with this yarn? After you've watched the whole video, what would you recommend that I make out of this yarn? I have 300 and something yards of it. I just had a look at my Tour de Fleece calculations or records, and I have 336 yards of this yarn. So I've not looked at patterns yet. We shall see. It's fairly densely spun. Anyways, I'm going to turn on some music and let you enjoy the last little bit of this spin, and I will be back for the plying. Alright, now that the bobbin is full and all of the singles have been spun, it is time to ply it, and since I'm chain plying, I decided to ply on Mr. Squeaky, my spinny cube, and because I can really slow down the wheel to match the speed of my hands, and I'm much less likely to overply. I don't usually like to spin on Mr. Squeaky just because I need the sensory input of my legs moving in order to not be bored. But, and I was really, really bored while I plied this miles and miles, it felt like, of singles. I just was watching TV and talking to friends and family and hanging out and having fun, and was bored to death of the spinning because I was not treadling. I always have trouble with plying. It is boring to me. I'm trying to change my approach to plying so that I no longer consider it boring or a chore. But when you get into a rhythm and the only part of your body that is moving is your hands, and you're used to moving your feet as well, it can be rather difficult to stay engaged, at least for me. But then I'm just not used to using the e-spinner because I don't spin on it very often. I have a lot of people that have asked me, how do you stop while in the middle of chain plying? I put one loop over a hook, one loop over something else, and then I carefully pull those loops off and I grab the single that is just loose. So we have the loop that I'm using to pull a single through, and the loop that the single is making as I'm pulling it through. Those are two different loops that I hook on things on the wheel, and then the single itself I just let hang. So that is how I store my chain plying when I have to stop in the middle of it, because no one, in my opinion, has the ability to chain ply from start to finish in one go. If I'm wrong and you do that, wow, you have all my respect. I cannot sit there and do this from start to finish for multiple hours on end, and it just drives me bonkers. I have to move around. I have to get up and stretch. I have to change locations. I have to get up and do other things because I have a family, and life happens and you get interrupted all the time while spinning. So I have found a way to hold all three strands of my chain ply where it's easy for me to grab them again and keep going with minimal tangles. It took a little while to figure out how to do this, but I thought if I put a little clip in here, it might help some of you to figure out how you can work it for yourself so that you can stop in the middle of chain plying, because sometimes it's hard to know how to safely come to a stop and then be able to pick it up again right where you left off with minimal headache and hustle. So that is all I had to say about this spin. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you would like a more detailed tutorial on chain plying, please let me know in the comments, and I can do a separate video just on that. But it may be a few months because life. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys!